Hi everyone, welcome to my next YouTube video. I haven't posted one for about a week and a half because I've been really busy and I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to talk about, but I've decided that in this video I want to talk about ataxic cerebral palsy. There are a few reasons for this. One is because I have ataxic cerebral palsy, and the second reason is because not a lot of people actually know about it. They know about cerebral palsy, they know about other types like quadriplegia, diaplegia and all the rest, but not really about ataxic CP. And I've even come across doctors that when they say, oh, cerebral palsy, and I say, yeah, ataxic, they look at me a bit baffled, believe it or not. So I wanted to tell you my list of facts about ataxic cerebral palsy and also which of those things in the list apply to me as well. Okay, so here's my list of facts about ataxic cerebral palsy. Okay, 1. Ataxic cerebral palsy only affects 5 to 10% of the diagnosed population. So that means it is the rarest type of cerebral palsy. So there is as little as 1 in 20 of us within the cerebral palsy community with ataxic cerebral palsy. It is caused by damage to the cerebellum, which is the brain's balance centre, and it controls your ability to maintain balance, coordinate your movements and to be steady on your feet and in your movements. It can affect the arms, the legs, speech, eye movement, swallowing as well. So yeah, and also when affecting arms, people with ataxic CP often have trouble with reaching for objects, and I get it myself sometimes. I'll go to reach for an object and I'll overshoot the object, or I might even sometimes completely knock the object over that I'm trying to reach for, and this is due to a lack of coordination and also spatial awareness as well. We can also have difficulty isolating finger movements. I don't get it so much in my right hand, that I'm really dexterous with that, but sometimes in my left hand I can have trouble with isolating the movements in my fingers, especially if I'm quite tired or it's a really fine task like doing up buttons. I really struggle sometimes to isolate my fingers in this hand. I mean, I can wiggle them, but to actually isolate them for a specific task can be quite difficult. Struggling with movements that require repetition. So this could be clapping or dancing. I'm trying to think of others. Any sort of repetitive movement. I struggle with this. I can clap, but obviously that's something that I've learned as a small child, and but yeah, I can't dance really at all. I have tried dance. I was in a rock challenge in college, and I normally struggle with repetitive movements with my legs. So if I'm doing a workout and it says 2 steps to the left, 2 steps to the right, that is a real struggle, and I get really mixed up, quite unbalanced with that. Being unbalanced and falling easily. I get this as well, so it doesn't take much to knock me off my centre of balance, especially if I'm doing something. So if I'm reaching for an object, if I'm trying to bend down to pick something up and something knocks me even a little bit, it can really knock me off balance. A lot of us fall really easily as well. Just checking. Oh yeah, I'm still going. A lot of us fall really easily as well. We don't tend to have that depth perception there. So putting one foot in front of the other. I personally find that when I initiate the movement, so coming downstairs, I fall often because I'll go to put my foot on the step and the signal misfires and my foot will just overshoot the step, or I'll pronate on my feet and end up losing my balance, and the result of that is falling. Again, depth perception. This is something that I also do have trouble with. Going up and down curbs, or when I'm walking along, and a lot of others get this as well, change in floor level or change in the ground level that you're walking on. It can be really difficult to try and keep balanced if the terrain or the floor level that you walk on changes, because a lot of us have a gait, and I do have a gait. I stand and walk with my feet very wide apart, and that's very common with ataxic cerebral palsy, and that's to try and help us maintain balance, so we adopt a wider stance, and so therefore when we become off balance we fall easily. Another and the final thing on my list is speech and swallowing difficulties. Now, I don't have any difficulty that I'm aware of with my speech. I've never been told I have a speech impediment or anything like that, but some people do with ataxic cerebral palsy, and their speech can be quite monotone in their tone of voice, and they may have, when they speak, there may be a pause between syllables when they say certain words, and apparently, according to the Cerebral Palsy Alliance, it can also, with speech, cause us to speak with quite breathy sounds. I'm not sure. Please comment below if you think that you hear that, but I've never really thought about it. And swallowing, which is something that obviously affects all types of cerebral palsy, as far as I'm aware, can have trouble with swallowing, but people with ataxia can have swallowing difficulties as well, also known as dysphagia. When I was a young child, I had trouble with swallowing, and I would sometimes choke. I still have a little bit of trouble sometimes if I'm really tired. I may find it difficult to swallow, and foods of certain texture are quite difficult for me to swallow as well. But I wouldn't say it affects me personally. It doesn't affect my eating. Really, I have a really varied diet, and I enjoy a wide range of foods as well. So it just depends on person to person. So that's my list, guys, about ataxic cerebral palsy. As I said, I've tried to point out as I go along the bits that sort of affect me. It's a very general list. There may be some things that some of you guys out there with ataxic CP feel aren't on the list, and if they're not, then please comment and let me know, and I will add them in. I really wanted to, as I said at the beginning, talk about ataxic CP because it is the type of cerebral palsy that I have, and within the cerebral palsy community and the medical world, there really isn't a lot of research at all going into it. In fact, almost all the research, I'd say 90% of the cerebral palsy research that I've come across is about the spastic types of cerebral palsy, and I think that even though we are only 1% of the diagnosed population, there really should be some more research about us too, about all of cerebral palsy in general. There should be more research, but I definitely think that us guys with ataxia do get overlooked a little bit sometimes. And one last note as well, with the being unbalanced, we can also sometimes appear, I know I do, people have mistaken me for being drunk or intoxicated, and that's not always the case. So if you see someone that has a bit of a wide stance, you know, their gait's quite far apart and they do seem quite unbalanced, maybe their speech is slightly slurred, they may not be drunk, they may actually have cerebral palsy, and it is really common that we get confused for being intoxicated when actually we're not. Why, I don't know, because it being intoxicated and having a disability, even if it makes you look that way, is quite obvious if someone is drunk or not. So yeah, so that's it, guys. That's the end of my video. Thank you for listening. Again, any suggestions, anything you want to add to the list, maybe you have your own list as well, please let me know, and I'll see you again soon. Please share and subscribe, and I hope you're all well. Okay, bye.